KeyCastr is a free and open source tool available on GitHub. Now, you may be unfamiliar with GitHub, but I don't want you to be daunted by its unusual interface. It's designed as a place for developers to upload and control versions of their code, but many developers use it as the place where we can download and install their native Mac apps. We're going to completely ignore all of the little tabs at the top and the files you can see in the next section under the green Code button. But let me scroll down, and below that you'll see README, which is a nice, pretty document that explains the tool for normal people. There's a nice animation of how it works, and if we scroll down a little bit more, we get to the installation section. If you're of the nerd persuasion and familiar with Homebrew, you can install it with a simple terminal command. But we're going to go an even less nerdy route. You can see a link to download the latest release from GitHub. Again, things look a bit complicated, but the top section is the latest release, and it includes a title explaining what was most recently improved. Then you can see assets. The two source code links are for people who want to play with the code, and that's not us. So we'll select keycastr.app.zip, which will give us a normal install. Notice that this little app is only 2.41 megabytes, so it's already downloaded. I'll tap on the download button in Safari and tap the magnifying glass next to our download, which will take us right to it in Finder. KeyCastr launches as a menu bar app with all of its controls in its settings. The first tab says General, and we can choose to display the app in the menu bar and dock, just the menu bar, or just the dock. If you choose the dock as one of the options, it'll appear like a regular app, allowing you to command tab to it. Let's leave it in both. We can use the menu bar to start casting, and of course I'll explain what that means in just a minute. Or we can use the keystroke Control-Option-Command-K. If you'd like a different keystroke, you can change it right here. By default, Show Preferences at Launch will be checked. Might be nice to remind yourself of the options and the keystroke if you don't use the app very often. On the Display tab is where we really get to have some fun. I already have TextEdit launched, so let me open the file, and I'll type hello. I'll select the word hello, and I want you to pay close attention to the bottom left of the screen as I hold down Command-U to make it underlined. We see a tiny black rounded rectangle with white text that says Command-U that's on screen for a little less than 2 seconds. Now, I think that's far too subtle to draw anyone's attention, but luckily KeyCastr is highly customizable, so we could really make it pop. Presentify is our next tool designed to allow you to add annotations to your screen while presenting. It's $15 in the Mac App Store, available in SetApp, as a direct download, and even via Homebrew. Presentify is licensed under a Pay Once, Use Forever model. If you buy it from the Mac App Store, you'll see an in-app purchases section, but it turns out that's only a way for you to tip the developer later on if you want to, especially after using the tool for a long time. I'll pop down the Presentify page, and instead we'll keep this lovely ScreenCastsONLINE page up while I teach you how to use the tool. I've left a blank spot on the right because we're going to be looking at settings there while we work. Presentify is a menu bar app that looks like a little projection screen. From the menu bar, let's jump right in and select Annotate Screen. I could also toggle that on with Control-A. This pops up an annotation toolbar, so we can annotate this fine website. My cursor has changed into a small blue dot, indicating the color blue is pre-chosen from the toolbar and the freeform scribble tool has been selected. I'll draw a line under some of these words here, and you can see it's a little bit messy. If I hold down the Shift key, I can draw a straight line under these words over here. Presentify by default will leave annotations up on screen until you tap the eraser, and then they both disappear. I'll use Command-Z to bring them back. It might be tedious to tap the eraser, but you can use the Delete key to get rid of them as well. I'll use Command-Z to bring them back again. What if you just wanted to get rid of the messy line? If I hold down Command and I tap on an annotation, you can see it's selected. I can tap and drag the annotation around with the hand, or hit the Delete key and get rid of just that selection. I can use Command again to select a different annotation and move that around. To stop selection mode, hold down Command and tap the selected item. I'm not a big fan of freeform scribbling, perhaps it's the engineer in me, but I prefer a nice arrow or rectangle. When I select the arrow tool, my cursor changes to a small blue triangle. Let's also select red, which changes the color of the triangle as well. And now when I click and drag, I can draw the audience's attention in a very precise way. Hey, how about a lime green rounded rectangle? Now that's pretty eye-catching. A yellow oval with the circle tool works well too. If choosing a color is too stressful in the moment, you can choose the interlocking arrows, and as I draw more and more annotations, the color is actually changing as I draw. The T lets you type on screen. I'll type wow. The toolbar has a grab handle on the left side, so you can move it around to a better location. We can also use the tiny X in the upper right to close it, or use Control-A to stop annotating. Let me open the annotation toolbar again with Control-A. You'll notice that text is still selected. This is problematic because I'm about to teach you to type single letters to switch tools, and with text invoked, it won't work. Turns out, to get out of text mode, simply tap Escape one time. I'll now stop annotating with Control-A. What if you don't want your audience to see the toolbar while you're in annotation mode? From the menu bar app, we can choose to annotate without controls, or I could use Control-Option-A. It's important to learn these keystrokes because you'll want to be popping in and out of annotation mode while you're presenting. When you're in annotation mode, you really can't do much else. Also, without the controls visible, you'll need to know the keyboard shortcuts to invoke the different tools. Luckily, they're quite simple to remember. Freeform is the letter F. You can see I could draw a freeform line. Rectangle? Take a wild guess. That's R. Now you see a rectangle. Arrow is A. Circle is C. And text is T. I'll type wow again. To get out of text mode, we need to remember our new trick of hitting the Escape key. This pops us back to the last used annotation, in our case, the circle. Now what if we want to stop annotating altogether? With any of the tools other than text, hitting Escape stops annotation mode. I'll invoke annotations again with Control-A so we can see the toolbar. Let's say you can't remember the keyboard shortcuts. Simply type backslash and you can see all of the shortcuts. We learned the tool shortcuts, but look at how many more are available. We can change color by simply typing the number of the color we want from left to right. We can't do anything while this shortcuts pop-up is up, so I'll hit backslash again or Escape to make it disappear. I'll type F to make sure I'm in freeform, and then I'll type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you saw it change between all those colors. I'll use Control-A to stop annotation mode. While it's handy for a quick refresher to bring up the keyboard shortcuts using backslash, I'll choose Presentify settings from the menu bar and move to the Shortcuts tab so we can have it persistently on screen as I teach the different shortcuts. We're going to go through all of these, but keep in mind you can change any of the keyboard shortcuts at any time to something of your choosing.